Today I'd like to do a long-term review of the Nike Huarache. The beat-up pair you see in front of you is a 2007 mowabb pack that Nike released in the US. For the most part, up until recently, Huaraches were not released in the US, so if you wanted a pair, you had to get one from Asia or Europe. This rare pair was, when it was released in '07, sold out pretty quickly, and as you can see, I wore it a lot, to the point where it ripped and it wore out on the bottom to the point where it's really too slick to wear now. I don't have the heart to throw it away or anything, so I just keep it around. The great thing about this shoe was it was true to size, it was very comfortable, it was very compact, and it was very sturdy. I'm pretty sure I probably got about 7 or so years of wear, constant wear, out of these. And this was exactly what I had always remembered Huaraches to be. The next pair of Huaraches I got was this. This is even more beat up. This was a sample found at a Nike outlet. It was for a model line, or just colorway, that was never released. I got it pretty cheap, and this was even more comfortable. You had all of the comfort of their standard cushioning, which back then was pretty comfortable, and you had a Lycra toe box. Much like the Prime Knit I talked about, you had a lot of stretchability here, but in this case you had ample support on the side, so it really was the best of both worlds. This shoe was amazing, and I probably got a good 7-8 years wear out of this, to the point where it's completely destroyed. It's another pair I just don't have the heart to throw away, because it's just great. It's almost a memory of when Nike was better than they are now. So after this one was destroyed, I started looking for another one. Again, up until maybe 2014, Nike didn't really sell them in the US, so I ended up importing it on eBay out of Japan. I believe this is the Crimson colorway, and it's from 2014. And the thing I noticed about this was you had to size at least half size up. The shoe is heavier, and it seemed no matter how much I wore it, it still stayed pretty stiff. But I love them, and I wore them anyway, and I just figured if I wear them enough, they're going to get as comfortable as the older ones. But no matter how much I wore, that never changed. As you can see, this is still just really, really, really tough and pretty uncomfortable. And these also had quite a bit of wear in them. But I could never really make anything out of it. Shortly after, I think 2014, Nike started releasing retros in the US. And the two I picked up was the Cool Gray, which just really a great color. Here you had to really go a full size up. And once again, the shoe was fairly stiff and fairly narrow. And while it was more comfortable than the Crimson pair I showed, you know, for all of the wear I put into this, it's still really, really, really stiff, which a traditional Huarache really shouldn't be. And again, you can see I put a lot of wear in this one, but it just still never felt right. I even got the Scream Green retros, and I was pretty excited because this had a sort of Lycra-esque toe box, but guess what? It's really become a clunky, heavy shoe, and no matter how much you wear them, they just really, they stay really, really stiff. And it's really something the old Huaraches didn't do. I mean, this wasn't worn as much, but, you know, it was around this point with the multiple retro purchases that I just came to the conclusion that these are no longer for me. In general, I find probably the last few years, like with Nike and Jordan, I mean, at this point, I think a lot of the retros they make are just for aesthetics. They're just not comfortable anymore. No matter how much you wear them, a lot of Nike retros just don't get comfortable, at least for me. So the take-home point in all of this is, if anyone out there is interested in Huaraches, I would strongly advise you to try to get models made prior to at least 2014, especially ones that were exclusive to Europe and Asia, because those are considerably more comfortable than these.